Hello everyone, in this lecture we will learn about Xpath and CSS locators. In the last lecture we have already seen how to find an element using ID, name, class name and all. So for now let me create a new file, okay. I'll just create new Python file and I'll name it as locators and maybe Xpath and CSS, okay. So let me copy whatever we have previously here in this locators.py file. I'll put everything here, okay. So previously what we have done, we have navigated to this particular website and then we are maximizing this window and then we are trying to find an element using ID, okay. So this was the text box for which we are trying to find the element and then we are sending some keys, sending some value, okay. So earlier we were using ID, now we will try to use Xpath. First let me tell you the simple syntax for Xpath. So for that what we will do, we will write double slash then tag name, okay. Then we will put this square bracket and inside the square bracket we will write @ then attribute is equal to the attribute value whatever it is, right. So let me comment it out. So this is your syntax for Xpath, okay. So you have to use this syntax to find any Xpath, okay. You have to use double slash then tag name, then inside this square bracket you have to write attribute equal to value, okay. So let's create the Xpath, okay. So for this particular text box we will try to find the Xpath, okay. So what you will do, right click then inspect and here you will see the developer tool and here what we see, the tag name is input and then we have multiple attributes like name, ID, type, class, placeholder. So all these are attributes. So name attribute having value name, ID attribute having value name, type attribute having value text, class attribute having value form control, placeholder attribute value is first name, okay. So to write the Xpath, right, in your developer tool you can write command F if you are using Mac, okay. So what you will do here, just do a double slash, this is what the syntax I told, right. Then what is the tag name, the tag name here is input, right. So here you see the tag name is input, then what I told attribute is name, okay. So put a square bracket and here @ name equal to, then you write name, okay. The same thing, input @ name equal to name. So this is your Xpath, okay. And here if you will notice when you are selecting this, it is highlighting this and here also you can see this is getting highlighted, okay. And here you see 1 of 1 means it is identifying this particular text box, okay. So let's just copy this, okay, and go to our PyCharm and here earlier what we were writing, driver.findElement by.id, right. I will just comment out this one. So instead of that what you will write, driver.findElement, okay. Then again the same thing, by dot instead of id here you write Xpath, okay, then comma and here whatever Xpath you found here, right, just copy this and paste it here, okay. Then again remain same, send keys, okay, whatever you have used here and it is Mukesh, right. So okay, both the lines will do the same thing, but here we have used ID locator to find this particular web element and then we are sending the keys, here we are using the Xpath, okay. So that is the only difference, okay. One more thing, right. So here we used name attribute. If you want to use this ID attribute, that also you can do, you can write ID equal to name, okay. And see it is also identifying, so you can also write input @ ID equal to name. So if you want to write here, this also you can do, okay, input @ ID equal to name. If you want to use this type, right, so again you can write type equal to text, okay. It is not okay, see, okay, it is identifying 3 things. So in this case what you will do, see here you see 2 of 3. So, this is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one. So, in this case you will just put a bracket, okay, put a bracket like this, and then here in the square bracket you write 1. If you want to find the second web element, so basically for the first one it will find this. If you want to put 2 here, okay, so let us see it is identifying this mobile number thing, okay. Similarly for 3 it is identifying this subject, okay. So anyway we need 1 here, so we can use 1, okay. You can also use this XPath. So you can see, right, for to find this particular web element we can write multiple XPaths, okay. As long as you are seeing here it is as 1 of 1 and it is highlighting this and it is identifying this, that means your XPath is correct. Similarly you can use this class and placeholder attribute also, okay. Now we will move to the second one for this email, how we will write, okay. So again the same thing, just do right click and inspect, okay. Here you see input ID equal to email, name equal to email, okay. So here what you will do, again the same thing, input, let us say we will use, okay, previously we have used ID here, let us say here we will use this name, okay. So here I will just write double slash input, okay, then bracket started @ here we will write name equal to email, okay. So let us see this is getting highlighted and it is getting identified, email text box is getting identified. So let us copy this and put it here. So again what we will do, we will just comment out this, and instead of this we will write driver dot find element, okay, by dot XPath, okay, comma, and here we will write the XPath and then it is the same thing, dot send keys. So again these two lines are doing the same thing, but here we are using name, here we have used XPath, okay. Similarly if you want to find the gender, right, so again the same thing, let me just right click, inspect, okay. Here you see type, name, ID, let's use type now, right. So here what we will do, okay, input is the tag name, so input is the tag name, only type equal to radio, so @ type equal to radio, okay. See here it is identifying 3 things, okay. So you can put also one thing here, okay. If you are not putting one, it will anyway by default it will pick the first one. If you want to put the second, it will, you can put like how I have told you, right, like this, you can put 2, okay, like this, it will identify the second one. For the third it will identify the third one, for the first one it will identify the first one. Anyway if you want to select the first one, you don't need to write anything, by default anyway it will pick the first one. So let me put the first one here. So here instead of this, okay, let me comment out this, here I will write driver dot find element by dot XPath, okay, and here comma, and then here the XPath, okay. Then what we are doing, dot click, okay. If you want to use this mobile number also, you can do right click, inspect, here tag name is input and you have multiple attributes like name, ID, type, class, placeholder. So now let us use this placeholder, right. So double slash input, then we will just use this placeholder equal to, okay, placeholder equal to enter mobile number. See this is getting highlighted and this is getting selected, so this will also work fine. So copy this and come here, what you will do here, driver dot find element, okay, by dot XPath, then comma, here you put the XPath and here we have to do the send keys, right, send keys, give the mobile number. So let us say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0, okay. 10 digit, right? So this is your mobile number. Okay, so here we wrote XPath. I just commented all the ID, whatever we have written in our previous lecture. I have just commented all the ID, name, attribute and all, and now we are using XPath as the locator. Okay, so let me remove this thing also. These are not required now, and here we have the time.sleep because we can see how the execution is happening. Okay, let me execute and see if all these XPaths are working fine or not. So right click, run locator. So here you see browser is launched. Okay, here you see it is entering Mukesh and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. The execution got completed. So everything is working fine. So it means using the XPath locator we are able to identify all these web elements, and then we also perform the actions, like here we entered Mukesh, here we entered the email ID, here we clicked it, here we did also enter the mobile number. So everything is working fine using the XPath locator. Now let's try to find all these web elements using CSS selector. Okay, so first let's see what is the syntax of CSS selector, right? So it's almost similar to XPath. Okay, the only difference is in XPath we are using this / and this @, but in CSS that is not required. Okay, so let me just copy paste, and syntax for CSS selector. Okay, so here you don't need this / and you don't need this @. So again it is tag name bracket attribute equal to value. Okay, so let's go and try to find the web elements. Okay, for this fast name what we can do is right click, again inspect. Okay, so here you see input. So input is the tag name, and then this name, ID, type, class and placeholder are the attributes, right? So what we will do here, anyway we will not use this /, right? So we will use input. Okay, then bracket started, will not use @, we will just write name equal to name. Okay, you see it is identifying, right? Similarly, if you don't want to use this name attribute, you want to use this ID attribute, you can also write ID equal to name. Okay, so it is identifying, right? So just copy it, and here what you do, okay, so here we have used XPath. Now let me comment out this and let me put it like this: driver dot find element, okay, then by dot CSS selector. Now you can see, right, CSS selector, comma, then here you write whatever the CSS input, ID equal to name. Okay, and then copy this. Okay, similarly for the second one, what you can do, right click, inspect. Okay, so here you see input, ID equal to email, name equal to email. So let's say we want to use name here, so input name equal to email. Okay, so it is also identifying. So let me copy this, and here I will comment out this, and I'll just write driver dot find element by dot CSS selector, and then comma, here I'll write this, and then I'll just copy paste this. If you will go as per the syntax also, it will work fine. Okay, so let me just show you. So let me just comment out this, and here just copy. So driver dot find element by dot, here I will write CSS selector, will remove this / and will remove this @. That's all. Here also you can do the same thing. Let me comment out this: driver dot find element by dot CSS selector, input. Okay, here you remove this /, remove this @. Okay, everything remains same. So let me execute and see whether this CSS selector is working fine or not. Okay, browser is launched. Okay, you see everything is entered, right? Mobile number entered. Okay, so this is working fine. So you saw how to use CSS selector. Okay, one more thing. We can also write CSS selector in bit different way. So hash sign indicates the ID in CSS selector, okay, and dot sign indicates the class in CSS selector, okay. So we can directly write hash followed by the value of the ID attribute. So if you'll see here, let me right click and do inspect. So here what you see, name ID equal to name, right? So if we'll write something like this, input and then name equal to name, right? So this is the CSS, normal CSS we are using. So what I am telling, you don't need to write all these things. What you will just write input, and then for the names you can use this hash symbol, okay, input hash name. Now you see this is also working fine. So that is what I was telling, the hash sign indicates the ID, okay. So instead of writing, so wherever you will see, right, this ID, so you can just use tag name, okay, then hash symbol and what is the value of that particular ID. That is what we are doing, input hash name. So instead of writing, so here we are writing like this, right, input name equal to email, sorry, here input ID equal to name. So just copy and comment out this. So instead of input ID equal to name, you can write this, okay, input hash name, okay, this will work fine. Similarly, where you are using the class name, let's say for this inspect, okay, here what you see, input ID equal to email, name equal to email, type equal to email, class equal to form control. So here we have class, so we can write something like this, okay. So input okay, so you can write input class equal to form control, okay. Okay, it is identifying multiple web elements, right? So you can use multiple attribute here. So what I mean by multiple attribute, so here you see input class equal to form control. So it is identifying multiple things, right? In Xpath we can use that particular number, but here you cannot use that number. What you can do here, you can use one more attribute, let's say name equal to email or type equal to email. Let's say we will use this extra attribute. So for that what you can do, type equal to email. Now you see it is identifying, right? But what I was telling, instead of this class equal to form control, what you can do, you can remove all these things, okay. You can write input dot form control, then you give this extra thing. See, this is optional. In our case, as we are finding multiple web elements when we are using just this much, that's why we are adding this one. But let's say it is very unique class, right, only one element it is finding, then you can just write input dot form control, okay. So let's copy this and let's put it here. So okay, here only, right, driver, okay, let me just copy this, okay, driver dot find element by dot this one, we'll copy this, okay, you put it in a single quote, that's all, okay. Driver dot find element by dot CSS selector, let me comment out this, and instead of this we just write input dot form control. So whenever you will see a class, you can replace with a dot, whenever you will see a ID, you can replace with a hash, okay. So that is the thing. So let me execute and show you. See, everything is working fine, okay. So we saw how to find elements using Xpath and CSS Selector. Here we saw how to write on our own. In our next lecture, I will tell you how to use Selector Hub tool to find Xpath or CSS. With a simple click, you can find Xpath or CSS selector of any web element. So that's all for this lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you.